What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the RP Experience. I'm your host, Andrew Regenhard with Real Producers, and today we're going to be talking with the wonderful Sheryl Moreno, who is one of the owners of La Casa Tour. La Casa Tour is a value partner since the very beginning of Southwest Florida Real Producers. Sheryl, it is great having you on. Thank you for joining us today.
I'm very happy and excited to be here.
We're excited. So Sheryl is one of the owners of La Casa Tour alongside with her brother. And she's into shooting everything in regards to photography and videography, mostly focused around the real estate. She has a passion for being behind the lens and capturing amazing photos for both the agents as well as partners and business owners. Sheryl and her brother started the company back in August of 2015. We're lucky to have you been a part of Real Producers as one of our talented photographers, and we're super excited to have you here on the podcast.
I'm super excited.
Awesome. So we're obviously going to dive into photography and really how that relates to real estate, some tips and kind of some tricks and what to prepare and all that good stuff. But we're also going to be talking about your business as a photographer, but you as a mother, and how do you balance a professional business and have a personal life all at the same time, because that work-life balance can be very tough. So that's one of the big topics we'll talk about today. So what is one thing, when you talk about real estate and photography that motivates you? Like, why did you get into into photography?
Actually, so I started doing photography from years before, almost 15 years already.
Okay.
And it started because I was a makeup artist, and then I started taking my own photos, and people started liking my photos. And my husband at that time was like, why don't you learn how to do this? So I did. So he was the one that taught me, and thank God for YouTube, because everything, everything you learn, everything I actually know, it started from there.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's so cool. So, what with that being said, what is one thing you wish would have known when you first started the business? When someone started, taking photos, let's say for an agent or a business or a client, what's like one big thing you're like, gosh, I wish I would have known that?
I think everybody, right? It would always be nice to have a good mentor, somebody to guide you in the right path on how to do things. It's always easier when somebody shows you something. So, we didn't have that. Derek and I would have to literally, YouTube, research everything. I still actually remember the first photograph, the first house we actually photographed.
Yeah.
Me and him, we went together, and it was like 2,000 square feet home, and it took us almost 2 hours. I still remember that excitement or that nervousness. You're like, are we going to do it right? Are we, going to miss anything? So what used to take me 2 hours, a 2,000 square feet house now takes me less than 30 minutes to shoot. It's incredible, right?
Hey, it just goes to experience, right? It's the knowledge that you have through the experience of however thousands and thousands of homes that you guys have photographed now. So that's cool. So what makes a strong photo?
So I wouldn't say what makes a strong photo. It's more like a striking, powerful photo, because when you look at something, it doesn't matter who you are. You kind of stay like, wow, this is amazing. This is like, it captivates you, you spark an interest. And in real estate, that's so important because you want that interest, So the prettier your photo is, the more calls you're going to have, more interest buyers, and the higher you're going to get in getting a bid, because people are like, I want that house, especially in today, the last 2 years with COVID and everything, having that, right marketing where people haven't been able to come and actually see these in person, those photos and that video will definitely be like, I want that house. And they will bid. They will bid till they get it pretty much. So it's extremely important.
So what about when you let's say a real estate photography, right? Like what are some things that kind of make a strong photo for in regards to real estate, like a listing? But then on the opposite side, if when you take photos for Real Producers and you're featuring this guy or gal and you're making them look gorgeous and beautiful and a powerful photo, what are some differences in regards to actual like portrait versus like landscape and architectural type photos?
So when you think of architectural photography, light and lines are the most important thing, especially living in like Southwest Florida here in Naples. Everybody wants that Western or Eastern exposure. They want to see those beautiful breathtaking sunrises or sunsets, So depending on how the house is built, how the is the time that I will recommend on shooting it, right?
Okay, so time slot you're saying, like when the photos are taken. Okay.
Absolutely, because light is extremely important to showcase that light at its best. Of course, sometimes we have these beautiful rainy days, and thank God for Photoshop that we're able to do everything, to make those gloomy skies blue, and it's just what we do. That's our standard procedure.
Right.
And the difference between shooting real producers is still very important. Just yesterday when we were out shooting, we were looking, Andrew, what do you think about this? We still need that to work with this architecture. We need that depth of field, that center shot. Like, would it look good here, or should we do that 1/3? We'll offset it,
Yep,
So
right.
your architecture is always involved in some way,
Yeah.
When we shoot the things for you,
Yeah.
those top 500 producers.
Yeah, well, they always turn out amazing. I always curious on what kind of goes into the back end. I mean, I see the final finished product, and we collaborate a little bit, and I give my 2 cents. But sometimes it's just shooting in the dark, and they're just little ideas that pop up. And so I was curious, like, what makes it? And you brought up a great point actually yesterday with like pillars. Pillars add a great aspect to the photo, and it's things like that I didn't really think of. I would have thought, well, let's try to do this huge, beautiful, cool background of the golf course, and it's like, well, you won't really see it, because the person's in focus and everything. And so I'm like, that's true,
Everything gets lost a little bit, It depends also what type of lens you're using, because there was one that we did in the golf that we shot with a different lens where she was more up front.
Yeah.
And she was holding her golf
club. Yeah.
Her golf club. So, that picture was striking, but we minimalized the golf. We just put her in the center as like the interest.
Yeah.
The interest point.
What should a realtor or partner plan for before a photo shoot? So if they're like, hey, Sheryl, like I have this new listing, it's coming up, blah, 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 and they're super excited. What are some things that they can do and that to be proactive to make sure that, first of all, the photo shoot goes on time and is happening in that slotted time, but also that would probably increase the photo, right? Make it stronger or whatever.
Make it stronger or striking.
Yeah.
So because I'm so OCD and particular, very nitpicky, I feel like me and my entire team, we all have our, like, something that gives us a difference, right?
Yeah.
So I have awesome videographers, I have awesome photographers, I have awesome editors.
Yeah.
And then I come in and I pretty much review everything to make sure that I'm happy. Like, it's crazy. I have a team of editors, and I still re-edit the edits to make sure that I'm happy. So I'm not losing that quality that, you need. But to get to that final destination, like you said, what do we need to do? So every time somebody, whether you start using us for the first time or you've been using us, you always get a to-do list. It's automatically sent out. We send out an email on what you need to know, Of course, decluttering, taking personal items off, like photography, your personal photographs. And removing trash cans, toilet papers, paper towels, everything that you want to walk into like a model home so that other person can come in and be like, oh, I picture myself here because you removed all your personal items. So it's easier to feel like a home for you.
Yeah.
Like, this is the right home for you. So
it's not their home anymore. It's your home, right?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes, sir.
What type of photography did you first learn?
So like I said in the beginning, it just so happened to like tumble into it,
So was it makeup photography then, or like what?
Yeah, I would say, because I used to do makeup, I started with makeup, and then somebody said, hey, would you be interested in doing a photo shoot for me? I'm like, sure. And then one thing.
And that was an individual, like, portrait style?
Yes, a portrait style. I would start shooting like, oh, do you mind doing like photos for my daughter? She's turning 15. And then I started getting events. So I'll be literally hosting, like they'll hire me to do photo, video, makeup, and hair. So I was doing everything when it came to a wedding. So it was really overwhelming, always working with so much. And to me, it's harder to please a person than to like get a house wrong, right? So that's what started. Yeah, that's what I started
Interesting.
with.
So you were doing weddings, you were doing all kinds of different events and different things. Is there any photography that you haven't really dabbled in and you haven't really had the opportunity to shoot?
I would say more like, because unfortunately I don't have time. Anything that has more of a creator, artistic, that you're just free. You just go and just shoot, because it became my life for so many years. I don't have the opportunity, unfortunately, because
awesome.
I'm trying to balance work
Yeah.
and my personal family life, which is really hard,
Yeah.
And how we ended up here is that from Texas, after I moved, so I used to live in Texas. My husband passed away, so I moved down to Florida, and my brother Derek, he was working for Berkshire Hathaway. He was maintaining their IT for all of the East and West Coast. So he's pretty much, I always call him, he's the brains of the operations, because he does incredible marketing and he does our website, And then I'm more of the artsy part. I'm the one that's more picky or particular to make sure I'm happy before I actually release something out to, our clients.
Oh, well, it sounds like the yin and the yang, right? That's perfect.
And that comes with the troubles too, the constant fighting.
Hey, brother and sister. I mean, my parents waited a while, 14 years, and they had me, so it's just me. But I even with friends or whatever, like I could only imagine, being as business partners and brother sister. So it's pretty cool. I mean, there's some realtors, like the one that's about to come out and just came out probably by the time everyone's listening is Emily. And Todd down on Marco, brother, sister. And, it's just kind of cool, the dynamic, but I bet there's a little bit of bickering and goes on.
Absolutely. But, hey, it makes life interesting. It's fun. And we're doing what we love. He stays behind the scene. I'm more of the people person, even though don't put me in front of this mic. Because I still remember when I met you, and we did that first video, you were like so scared, and we did it over and over and over. That's pretty much me right now. I'm like super scared. I'm
She likes
nervous.
to be on the back side of the lens.
I know. I like to be behind the scene. Leave me in the back. That's where I belong. I like other people shine. I want to make them feel beautiful. I want to showcase their properties. And,
I hear you.
I'm an uplifter.
Yeah.
I see you. I'm always like,
oh, you are. You always have a great personality, very positive, and I really love that, and I admire that. But the thing is you're doing that, and you're also balancing a lot, like we talked about, and we'll get that in a second. But you have a beautiful family and a huge business that you're running, and it's balancing both. But one thing I want to talk about a little bit more, and maybe something that listeners would love to get value from, is you maintaining that high quality. You had mentioned you have editors, and then you're kind of going over it at the end, and you're even making edits to it. What other kind of processes, like high level, would you instill on maybe even a business owner that's not in regards to photography, or a realtor that might have a team, that's trying to maintain a quality too? What are some tips there, you think?
Oh boy. We actually talked about this yesterday. It's overwhelming, but it's a blessing. And, at the same time, your business has grown like exponentially, Andrew, so I'm very happy for you. And same for me. It's taken a little longer. We've been in business 8 years, and we continue to climb that ladder. And as we grow, I continue to hire more, but it's not losing that quality.
Right.
It's so extremely important.
Yeah.
And also, I'm a huge customer service. I want my people to get to know me. I get to know their families. I can actually say, well, how are you feeling if something happened? You're building a relationship, whether they choose, right? Because they always have an option. Whether they choose to use you or not, I still value you as a person. There's plenty of business for everyone.
100%.
100%. So, you have talented videographers, Corey, and other people that are just amazing, you know? And there's enough for everyone. But I appreciate you at the end of the day as the person that you are.
Oh, it's so true. It's so true that you pour into the agents, into the clients, and everyone. I see it time after time, and I hear it, Sheryl. Like, everyone speaks so highly of you, and just how sweet, considerate, but also how good a quality you do. And it's a balancing of all that. So
it's hard, though. It is hard putting in those 12, 16 hours a day. Your body gives up, like you were telling me. You're like, I can't get up.
I know, my body's like, can you just slow down a little bit, right?
But I get up again. You're never gonna kick me.
See, I'm not gonna sing. I'm gonna let you do that one. I'm gonna stick to my day job. I'm not gonna get down to singing. So we would break the mics if I started singing.
Please.
So, all right, as a business owner and a mother, how do you balance both work and life? And what advice would you give someone who's struggling finding that balance when they're just working so hard and they're not able to do the personal life, or vice versa, right? Maybe they're just so involved in their personal life that they can't give time to the business. So what's some advice?
Time management, right? And having the right people in your team really makes a difference. And for say my mother is my rock. You know, she has always been with me since my husband passed away and I stayed a widower with my son raising him. She never left me. She never left my side. Until this day, she lives with me, you know. And that's how I'm able, for me, for me, that's how I'm able to sustain the work balance that I have and my family.
Yeah.
Even yesterday, a house got canceled. Just a house got canceled because it wasn't ready. So I called my mom. I'm like, Mom, let's take the kids to Topgolf. So
Right.
I met them at 11 o'clock and I spent 2 hours with them.
Yeah.
So you gotta, work with what you have because it is hard. You have to put in so many extra hours to see that business succeed, but you don't want to lose, you don't want to lose focus of what's truly important, your true motivation, which is your family,
100%.
and that's what motivates me. Everything I do it for them.
Right.
So I don't want them to ever feel like, oh, Mom, you're never here. You're
Right.
not working. So take time, to always make sure that whether it's 30 minutes, but it's 30 minutes of quality time. Put your phone away, get to know them, talk to them, how was their day? And yeah, it's really hard, Andrew.
Powerful.
It is.
Because our phones blow up. You put it down for 10 minutes, 30 minutes, a podcast, right? And like you come back and you're like, wow, right? And it's the same thing if it's during hours, business hours or not, right? It never stops. So that quality time that you say is so important.
I got just not that long ago 82 calls in one day. 82 different people.
Oh my gosh.
Not just the same person. 82 different people in one day. I was blown away. And then the amount of work. So as the business is growing, I just hired 3 more people. But you don't want to lose that work ethic, that quality. So you're still training them. Make sure that they're getting what they need to continue helping you. But you don't want to lose sight. It's just, I am just overwhelmed with it. But God, God helps us, right?
Exactly.
He never gives us more than what we can handle. So thank God for his blessings.
Exactly. I love that. So, well, we have 3 questions that we ask all of our guests, and we're pumped to ask these to you as well. The first one is, how has a failure or an apparent failure set you up for later success? And do you kind of have a favorite failure of yours?
So I feel like everybody's character is different. We are driven. Something drives us. There's no right way or wrong way. Something just drives us in us. When I came to this country, I came from a third world country where even where I grew up, I didn't have electricity or running water, which is crazy. Something that we take for granted because it's just there. You don't ever think about it. Right. So I came here when I was 10, and since I came here, I always I'm going to be something. I'm going to make something of myself because you come with a different drive. You have the opportunity. This country is the best country. It gives you all the opportunities. It's just you got to go out there and work for them. Nothing's going to come down from heaven and just be given to you.
Agreed.
You got to go out and hustle and work, build relationships, and never give up. When I first graduated high school, I was 17. I bought my first house at 18. I built my business right after high school. I went to get my remodel license because I always love architecture.
Yeah.
It's funny because I started it and I'm here back with it, right?
Yeah.
So I got my license and I don't even know how many doors I knocked on for opportunities. Everybody's like, you install tile? You know how to do bathrooms? I'm like, I do. My dad taught me, because that's what he did for a living. So I knocked on hundreds of doors and I was living in Miami. Just to give you an idea, I ended up in Orlando, because it took one guy to say yes, to give me an opportunity, and my business grew. So I brought my dad with me and his, the guys that he used to work with.
Yeah.
And from 3 people, within a year and a half, I had 35 guys working under me, which is still more than what I have today. Today, I only have 10 guys that help me,
Yeah,
So,
wow.
yeah, it was incredible. And then the market crashed. And you lost it. So talk about a failure. Talk about coming out of high school from a third world country, from high school, building this, you're climbing, and then
ups and
whoosh,
downs. Yeah.
It literally takes you from 100 to 0 real quick.
Right.
So I think the lesson that you learn is humility.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Money, if it comes, is great, but it doesn't define you,
Right.
So being humble of whatever you achieve, staying humble, staying thankful, having gratitude,
Yep.
and understanding that it's okay. You know, you're at the place that you need to be because that's what God put in front of you. And it's just making the best, picking up those pieces and moving forward. So to me, that was the hardest thing from making what I was making.
Right.
Because I didn't have the degree after I lost my company in 2009
right.
to making $10 an hour again, which was crazy.
Hey, it goes in ups and downs, right? High and low tides, right? So, so true. Second one, when you feel overwhelmed or unfocused, or if you lost that focus temporarily, what do you do?
Breathe.
Breathe.
Oh my God, I need it. Like even in
meditate
the car,
or
no, just breathing exercise, meditate, listening, to relaxing music to get you back on focus, listening to always positive, word that encourage you, whether you're a Christian, which I am, something that's going to motivate you, or you just want like a, what's this guy's name? I forgot, that big talker, which I always listen to. He's a motivational speaker.
Grant Cardone, Tony Robbins.
Many of them, Tony Robbins. Okay, yeah. So, anything that's going to help you get out of that mindset because when you're in a bad place, it really takes a drain on your mind and on your body. So you got to learn how to shake it off. There's training exercise that you need to do every single day and exercising. Even though I'm not fit, guys.
You look great. What are you talking about?
I do exercise 4 times a week, It just makes me feel good. It releases the stress that I need to release.
I couldn't agree more. It is a time in my day where I can let off a lot of stress and I can really focus on just that one task at hand, which is cool. So last question, what are some, kind of bad recommendations, advice you kind of hear in your industry?
So in my personal industry, when it comes to like other photographers or videographers, I really haven't heard any. They're all very talented, you know, a lot of people, there's still a lot of good in this world. So I feel like they're doing the best to grow their business and to make the good connections that you actually help out to build.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
So, but I would say when it comes to what I do for a living, realtors, even though they're selling millions and they're super talented and they have all the, experience when it comes to that, they don't understand what we give.
Right.
What we give in our marketing, because we have an incredible website. We get a ton of clicks. We do a lot of organic SEOs. And if you utilize the tools, not only from our site, but for Zillow, a lot of people don't even know how Zillow works. You don't have to be paying $7,000 a month buying a zip code of Zillow. There's little tricks and nicks that if you take just a second to like call me, and I will definitely show you, and make you like understand how Zillow works, because this is my life. We always want to be a step ahead of the game, or 100%. Knowing what's innovating. Like this is the 4th time we're revamping our website to even make it better and bigger, So definitely I would just say realtors, take a little bit of time outside of your busy schedule. Yeah. To utilize more of the marketing tools that are available to you, with us or with other people that you could do yourself too. You have an account on Zillow, you can actually log in and do certain things that I can definitely teach you. I love it. Sheryl, we're running out of time. Thank you again, and thank you so much for joining us. It was an absolute pleasure chatting with you today. I love Andrew. Thank you so much, Andrew. It was a great time to be here. Awesome. As always, RP Experience is extremely thrilled to have you on here. We're here at Venture X in the podcast studio. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for the next episode. See you guys. Bye.